She walked in at 3:11 a.m., no keys jingling, no apology whispered into the dark, just the sound of the door closing too softly, like she was afraid to wake the guilt trapped inside her own skin. I lay still on the couch, eyes half open, pretending to sleep, pretending not to hear her cautious footsteps, pretending I didn't spend 5 days staring at a dead phone screen, waiting for a message that never came. She stood there for a moment, watching me, or maybe watching the version of me she hoped I still was, the man who used to believe her. Then she exhaled, a cold, final sound. My life, my rules. Don't ask anything. That was it, her grand explanation for disappearing without a trace. 5 days erased with 6 words. I nodded slowly, calmly, absolutely. My voice didn't tremble, her eyes didn't linger. She walked past me, up the stairs, disappearing into the bedroom as if nothing had fractured. As if she hadn't left me in a silence thick enough to choke on. I waited until I heard the door shut. Then I rose. I reached into the drawer where I'd been hiding the envelope. Heavy, thick with answers she thought I didn't have. Divorce papers. And a private investigator's report detailed enough to peel her entire double life open. I placed them on the dining table, face up, waiting for morning. And for the first time in 5 days, I felt something like oxygen return. Not relief, just certainty. The kind that burns cold, the kind that ends things. The first sign wasn't the 5-day disappearance. It was a look, a flicker in her eyes one evening, quick, nervous, gone before I could name it. A look people give only when they're hiding something behind their rib cage. Before that, she had excuses, late meetings, sudden errands, a new friend she never named. I didn't question anything at first. That's the strange thing about betrayal. It begins with your own willingness to believe the lie. But the distance grew teeth. The way she tilted her phone away from me. The way she smiled at messages she refused to open in front of me. The way her laughter changed, sharper, younger, belonging to someone else. And then the silence. The 5 days where she cut herself out of the world. I called once. She declined it. I texted twice. The messages stayed unread. By the end of the 2nd day, something inside me settled. Not panic, not anger, a quiet, brutal realization. She wasn't missing. She was with someone. Willingly. Her sister didn't know where she was. Her coworkers claimed she had taken personal time. Her mother hung up on me after muttering something about boundaries. Everyone had pieces of her story except me. And that's when the denial snapped. Late that night, alone at the kitchen table, fingers still hovering above my phone, I felt the shift. The moment a man stops hoping and starts calculating. I didn't confront her. Confrontation is for people still fighting for something. I simply opened a browser tab, typed the private investigator's name, and bought the truth. Because if my marriage was going to end, it wasn't going to end in confusion. It was going to end in clarity. Cold, exact, undeniable. The investigator was methodical to the point of cruelty. He didn't send theories. He sent timestamps, receipts, photos, patterns of behavior lined up like dominoes waiting for my permission to fall. He started with her phone records, numbers I didn't recognize, calls that lasted far too long, messages exchanged at hours she told me she was asleep beside me. Then came the locations, motels with hourly rates, cafes we used to visit together, now tainted by someone else's shadow. A parking garage 2 towns over, where her car appeared night after night. He sent photos. Her stepping out of a car that wasn't ours. Her laughing, head tilted back, the kind of laugh she never offered me anymore. Her standing too close to a man whose name I didn't yet know. Each picture was a blade sliding in quietly. I studied them with a stillness that scared even me. No rage, no shaking hands, just a steady silence, like the eye of a storm waiting to move. On the fourth day of her disappearance, the PI sent the final file, a full report. Their routine, their meeting spots, their history, 6 months long. 6 months. She had been living 2 lives, one with me, one with him. I read everything twice, then a third time, until every detail became a fact carved into my spine. I never confronted her through messages, never dialed her number, never begged for an explanation she didn't deserve. I left her space to do whatever she wanted, for the last time. Because I wanted her to walk back into this house thinking she was still in control. I wanted her to reveal the final piece of herself willingly. And she did. My life, my rules. Don't ask anything. She had no idea she was already standing on the edge. Morning came with slow footsteps. She walked downstairs, hair wet, demeanor strangely practiced, as if she had rehearsed her nonchalance in the mirror. She froze when she saw the envelope on the table. "What's that?" I didn't answer. I just pushed my coffee aside and leaned back, watching her hands tremble before she even touched the papers. She opened the first page. Divorce petition. Her face drained, but she still tried to hold her ground. What is this supposed to mean? I didn't speak. Silence is a weapon if you hold it long enough. Then she saw the report underneath. The photos clipped neatly in sequence. Her expression collapsed. The practiced calm, the arrogance, the rule-breaking declaration from last night. All of it evaporated in seconds. She looked at me, eyes wide, voice breaking without permission. "It's not what you think," I finally spoke. "It's exactly what I think." 4 words, delivered quietly. She flipped through the pages, each one a punch she had earned. Her breath hitched. Her fingers shook so violently the pictures shook and scattered across the floor. She looked small. Not guilty, not sorry, just caught. And as she sank into the chair, hands covering her face, I felt nothing. No rage, no satisfaction, just an emptiness shaped like the truth. "I can explain," she whispered, "but explanations are just lies dressed in softer clothes." I slid a pen across the table toward her. "You don't need to explain. You just need to sign." She stared at the pen as if it were a knife. "You're ending everything? Just like that?" I nodded once. Not dramatic, not emotional, calculated. "You ended it 6 months ago. I'm just acknowledging it." She shook her head violently, tears starting to form. "It meant nothing, I swear. I felt lost." "You didn't get lost," I said. "You wandered." The difference mattered. Her eyes flicked up to mine then, searching for anger, for a crack, for anything she could use. She found nothing, and that terrified her more than screaming ever could. She reached across the table, desperate. "I can fix this. Please, we can start over." I leaned back, untouched. "You told me your life, your rules. I listened." Her face crumpled. This was the revenge. Not cruelty, not insult, just truth delivered with surgical precision. She signed. The signature shook so badly it nearly tore the page. When it was done, I gathered the papers, slid them back into the envelope, and stood. She didn't move, just stared at her hands as if they belonged to someone else, someone who had gambled and lost. I walked to the door. She whispered my name, small and fractured. I didn't turn. There was nothing left to look at. Outside, the air felt colder, cleaner. It wasn't freedom I felt, not triumph, just a quiet, steady clarity. The kind that comes only when you stop asking questions. The kind that arrives when you finally see a person without the stories you once wrapped around them. When I closed the door behind me, it didn't echo. It didn't need to. Some endings are loud, some endings blaze. This one was simple, precise, final. I didn't take anything with me, not even the memories.